Hello, I might need these again. Hi, um, it's May 1st, and I want to talk about taking responsibility for your own health instead of letting your doctor make all your decisions for you. But beyond that, I'm going to be talking about the home A1C test. So, I've used a home A1C test. So, do you know what an A1C test is? I just realized. I've heard that in other countries they totally say HbA1c, or they might even say hemoglobin A1c. And I don't remember what the A1C stands for, but it's a test that people do. Um, Doctors will prescribe the test, order the lab test. Okay, the test is I probably should have done a little research on this before I started talking about it. But it measures the amount of gunk, that sugar left on your red blood cells over a 2 to 3 month period. So by measuring that gunk, it gives you a number which correlates to a certain blood sugar level. And so, if I was really good at video editing, I would put a correlation, a chart that compares A1Cs to milligrams per deciliter of blood sugar, or what is mml? Millimeters of milliliters. I don't know. It's a different value that other countries use. Some countries use milligrams per deciliter for blood sugar, and some countries use mml, whatever that is. Millimeter, right? No, that's not right. Anyway, so it tells you how much damage sugar is doing to your body. I did mine this morning. I do one every month because I'm a little obsessed. So I use the Rely On, and I bought this box has 2 in it, and it costs about $35 or $36, and I can just go to Walmart, pick it up off the shelf. And the reason I use Walmart is I'm already there buying test strips for my meter and insulin. I get my insulin there because it's only 25 cents per vial. And I'm already there. And actually, over the years of doing a self A1C test, I have found that the Rely On has the best directions. And I'll show you the directions. So they have little pictures and directions where you can follow along, and it tells you exactly what you have to do at every step. And it's so easy. And I just love it. Now, for a long, long time, I used a test called A1C Now, made by Bayer, and I don't actually think they make that anymore. Another company is making it. So I don't know. But let's see. Oh, hey, Paul. And North Dakota Carnivore, Lance. Hi. Happy to see you. Oh, and Lance said something. Okay. Hi, Mrs. Obsessed. That's hilarious. Millimole, thank you, per meter. I have used that one. I got a 5.3 a few months ago. Well, that's better than mine. Mine today was 5.6, which is okay. And I was telling somebody else, I I see that as like a B minus. It's like it's not great, but it's pretty good. A B minus. So anyway, I was going to show you the different parts of it. And usually when people see the picture that I post online of this little meter, they think it's like a meter, but it's not. It's like a temporary, it's a disposable meter. You don't keep buying the test strips for it. It just works for the tests that are in this box. I'm not really sure how or why, but I've bought them by the 20 in a box or 10 in a box often, but I don't anymore because this is just convenient. And then it comes with 2 packets, a number 1 and a number 2. And you just follow along in the directions, and they have a pricker in the 1, which mine didn't work, so I'd use my own pricker this morning. But I want to talk about, don't want to lose those directions, who might do this. So some people just want to know what their A1C is, whether they've ever been close to diabetes, or if I didn't have diabetes, I'd still want to do an A1C, probably not once a month, but I'd probably want to do one 2 or 3 times a year, because you want to stay on top of your A1C to make sure that you're not developing type 2 diabetes. Or even, I never thought about whether you would test your kids, but like when I had little kids, I was always afraid that one of them would get type 1 diabetes. And so back then, though, when they were little, they didn't have A1C tests, and they had A1C tests, but they didn't have home ones. I wonder when they were first available. I don't know. And my kids I would test their blood sugar occasionally, and they never had a problem with their blood sugar, and they're still, all 3 of them, very healthy. But there's a lot of reasons why you might want to do an A1C test. And you don't have to go to a doctor. You can just do it at home. It's like having a meter. Well, my meter's in the other room, but it's like having a meter, and you could just test your blood sugar. I always recommend that people who've never had diabetes, everybody should own a meter. I think everybody should own a meter. I think everybody should have a home blood pressure cuff and be able to test their blood pressure, just like you ought to be able to test your blood sugar. Because high blood sugars can really damage your body. I mean, you can lose fingers and toes and feet, legs, and it's high blood sugars are important to know about. So I'm just making sure I'm not, yeah. So Lance, that's a really good number. Why did you decide to do one at home? Were you a type 2 diabetic? I'm not sure I've ever heard your story. But I'll let you know if he answers me. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and talk about the A1C, and I had pictures and everything. If you go to my Instagram or Facebook, you can see my post about my A1C this morning. Oh, let's see. So, no, just checking. Awesome. Yeah. That's what Lance says. He was just checking. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody should know what their A1C is. You want to know that it's a good number. The lowest my A1C has ever been was a couple of years ago, and I got a 4.7 once. Paul says, in research, I've done at home A1C test plus or minus 0.3. So, oh, well, yes, that is true, but I don't know. I think they're pretty accurate. And there's a whole lot of, well, and I actually, when I go to my endocrinologist, well, he's just saying that at a lab, they're probably pretty more accurate. I don't know. I've done, I've had a endo appointment like just a couple of days difference, and there was only, you know, a couple of days after, like on the 3rd of the month or something. I always try to do it on the 1st, and it was 1/10 of a point higher than mine was at home. Um, so there has been a little bit of discrediting the A1C test by carnivores. Um, and I will say that I have not noticed that. So the argument is that as a carnivore, your red blood cells may live longer, so that the A1C tests might be inaccurate. And that is why some carnivores have higher A1C tests than if they're wearing a CGM. This is a CGM right here. That's a constant glucose monitor. I also have that, which comes to my phone or a little receiver. And let's see what my blood sugar is right now. 114. That's the same thing it was before lunch. And then I ate my lunch. I took some insulin, so it's still 114. Interesting, because on that chart that I was talking about earlier, that's what a 5.6 correlates to a 114. That's pretty interesting. So, I'm just going to keep these on because I can't see comments unless I do keep them on. Yeah, I think that um, I've had a 4.7 as a carnivore. I've had a 4.8 as a carnivore. I've had, it's been 7 years. And if I test every month, I've had just about everything. I've actually had as high as a 6.5 and as low as a 4.7, and probably everything in between. And if I if I'm truthful, I would rather it be, well, if I could pick it, I would rather it be sub 5. But from 4.7 to 5.3 is like the sweet spot where there's no damage at all. I also you wear a CGM. Oh, I experiment on myself. Currently have 2 CGMs on. Wow. Lingo and Stello. Comparing accuracy, checking blood, and keto mojo versus CGM. Well, that's very interesting. So I do have, I think this morning when I was doing it, I got the whole thing out and started opening it up. And then I thought, oh, I should have done this for my live this afternoon. But I had already opened stuff, so I couldn't do that. But I think it would be really pretty cool to do it, the whole thing while I'm on live. So maybe one time later I will do that. I almost used the second one in the box, but I decided that would just be a little, that's just like throwing money away. I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to actually test my ketones right now while I'm on camera. I do not have a Keto Mojo. I have a Precision Extra. And I don't, it's just because I've had this for a long time and I've had it I got it before they ever made the Keto Mojo. So it still works. So the test strips are tricky to find. I think I usually buy them on eBay. And I may eventually get a Keto Mojo, but the test strips are so expensive. And it's hard to buy just the ketone test strips and not to buy both. And of course, I already have a glucose meter, 2.2. So that's good. That's a good. What do you think about that, guys? 2.2, which I'll tell you, it's really now, of course, it's purple. I'm the purple girl, but this is my um journal, and I put everything in here. So I'm just going to write that down. What time is it? 3:16, I think. And ketones, what did I say? 2.2. So that's good. Recently I have started eating, basically, I'm eating the same exact diet that I always ate, but I'm eating more butter. I checked my ketones about 2 hours ago. I'm fasting. Ketones were at 4.2 and glucose was 63. Well, that's really good fasting numbers. So how long are you going to fast? 2.2 is good. I normally don't get, I don't know what that is. It's blocked a little bit unless I fast. Oh, well, I was testing like over and over again at 0.7. uh, I was just, or I'd go 1.1. I'd have low ketones. And I've eaten a high fat carnivore forever. And I just started eating bigger hunks of butter. I really did not expect this, but my ketones are almost always over 2. The other day, where I had a lot of butter, they were 4.1. So I guess it really does make a difference if you're eating more fat. Now, also, if you wanted to eat MCT oil, I hear that people get higher numbers of ketones with MCT oil. Um, oh, just okay. So Lance is fasting. He's at 116 hours and planned for 120 hours, but will be going until tomorrow. Um, well, that's awesome. I'd have to, like, how many days is that? It's 4 to 5. You're doing a 5-day fast, right? Bring on the carnivore pancakes. Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, that might have been what broke the stall on the ketones, was making those carnivore pancakes. And of course, I always think about doing lion again, but I love those pancakes. And I went to the health food store today just to, actually I was buying my dog food because I get his dog food. He's so spoiled. I pay more for his food than my own. A local farm makes dog food and it's really good and he loves it. So it's like raw beef with organs mixed in it. I mean, that's probably what I should be eating. And yeah, I pay more for his ground beef than I pay for my own. Uh, Um, yeah, I think the carnivore pancakes, which are cream cheese, butter, and eggs, and then I use a bunch of butter on them. And by the end, I've eaten about a stick of butter, a whole stick. Yeah, And I think that's what started upping my ketones. And then I just got inspired to eat more butter. Now, I will do that until there's a problem with it. But so far, my weight has stayed the same. I feel really good because when I have good ketones, I feel great. So, you know, it's, yeah. Um, Seems like I was talking about something I was gonna say 5 days. Yes. Oh, okay, cool. Well, it's fun when you're fasting and then you said, I'll just go to bed and you get a whole extra, 8 hours, which is really 12 because, you know, anyway, it's a whole another half of a day just to go to bed. Um, right. So I just wanted to get on and talk about the A1C test. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh, I think that people, and I'll just, I know I said this already, but I think that everybody should know what their A1C is. They should probably do it at least every 3 months. You can do a home test, or if you're getting lab work done, might as well do it at the lab. Oh, I was going to say my endo office has a great big machine. It's like this big, and it tests your A1C. And I don't know if it compares to a lab or it compares to the one we do at home, but it's usually right about maybe a tenth of a difference in my home A1C, like I said. So um, yeah. So and there's a lot of debate, like we mentioned, with the carnivores and what some carnivores think. But I will say that mine have been just about what I would expect them to be. Um, so last month I did not do one because I had been sick the month before. So I had this really bad cold. And during the cold, I'd had so many high blood sugars that I did not want to know what my A1C was. And I have control because the doctor's not going to tell me what to do. So I just decided I didn't want to know. And I would spend the whole next month trying to be really good so that my higher A1C wouldn't be too much higher. And I guess I kind of succeeded at that. So, yeah, I have a weird sense of I like being in control, and it's one more thing that makes me feel happy to be in control. Um, so that's another reason I like to do the home A1C. Um, Paul says currently the lab-based A1C test is based on the red blood cell life of 106 days. Dr. Hampton has instructions for adjusting. Um, yes, that's a very good, based on the red blood cell life. Um, yes, I've watched that video and to I agree with him, but we don't know if the red blood cells are really living longer. I kind of doubt mine aren't. And part of that reason is, I mean, I love the carnivore diet, but I don't eat a beautiful, perfect steak every day. Um, Even when I'm doing the lion diet, I'm mostly eating ground beef because I don't want to spend a lot of money on my food. Um, So I kind of doubt that my red blood cells are living longer. And I don't I don't know that I agree with him because I think that, well, I'll tell you something. Let me look at this. I'll look at my CGM Oh, look, I must be getting nervous because now it's 119. Um, Here it is. So 74% time in range. All right. My average glucose is, this is in my CGM data. Oh, look, you can't read it, huh? Mm. Well, anyway, that's what I'm reading from. It's in my CGM. And the GMI, which is basically what it would say your A1C would be. I don't know what glucose mean something. Does anybody know what the GMI stands for? It says 5.5%. And my A1C was 5.6. So according to my CGM, they think that my A1C would be 5.5. Now, I could change this to 30 days, and it says 5.7. 14 days, 5.4. 7 days, 5.5. So that's like an average of 5.6. Um, there is this little dollar sign, and it's blocking some of the words, but I think you're saying, I bet you get tight range. Mine is 70 to 120. What, your red blood cell um life? How do you know? Do they test that? Can you get a test to know what your lifespan of your red blood cells are? Is that a test I don't know about? I don't know. Um Anyway, I encourage everyone, whether they're a diabetic or not, to do an A1C test. And you can do it every 2 months, every 3 months. You can be crazy. Like, I'm not the only type 1 diabetic who does that. Um, Mike what is his name? Fitzpatrick? I think so. He's a bodybuilder, and he does one once a month on the first as well. He's the only other person I know of. I'm sure there are other type 1 diabetics who do this. It's a little obsessive, but I just like to know if I'm doing better. So, oh, look, it's Lewis. Okay, 70 to 120 is, oh, the blood sugar range. Oh, okay, sorry. Well, this just says 90, average glucose 92. But how do you get the blood sugar range setting on the CGM app? I don't think I have a setting like that. Trends? Y'all gonna have to tell me where that is because I don't think I have that. I just have average glucose 92. That's for 7 days. 14 days, it says 87. 30 days, 99. At least it's all under 100, right? Um, oh, what's this? Show all data? No, same thing. Yeah. Um, does anybody put their Insulin, I've never put my insulin or my food or anything in my CGM because I have my little book that I write everything down in. I have these on my bookshelf, um, and I have a box in storage, but I have them like for the last 30 years. So I found Dr. Bernstein and very low carb 30 years ago. So I've been, um, I haven't had bread or popcorn. What do I, what, like sometimes I think, what do I even miss? I probably miss popcorn more than anything, but I don't even think about what I miss because I love my diet so much. So anyway, I haven't had bread or popcorn or rice or, you know, I don't know, for 30 years. So let me just put these back on. Oh, do you, Paul? Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should start doing that. Profile, display, 10 graph settings under target range. This is where you set your low and mine's set at 65 to 120, but I don't know where that is. Um, I set it for that, but then it unsets itself sometimes. I don't remember how to get to it. Um, target range. Um, so they changed it. I'm pretty sure it's still 65 to 120. Um, that's not the one I set. Where is it? Profile, display, display, trend graph, target range. Oh, look, I had set it, but it unset itself. My low is supposed to be 65, so I'm setting it as 65, save. And my high is supposed to be at, am I gonna be upset? Y'all set, is this your high at 120? All right, I'll do it. Save 120. All right. Do you change what your very high is or very low? I don't know. How about your very high? I think I'm gonna change that to 200. And I might change, they might not let me change. Yeah, they don't let you change what your very low is. Oh, nighttime target range? I don't know. There's all these things on here I didn't realize. So now my thing is it's going to be going off all the time. But that most of the time I have the alarms off. Um, not that, not that. Um, is this it? No. Alerts. Um, show quiet, silence. I The reason I silence them is that they give me anxiety when they go off. And I tend to run low a lot because of insulin. I'm taking insulin and I tend to walk a lot, and I tend to go low a lot. And I always have my phone with me. And if I want to see what it is, I can just look it up. I don't need to be alarmed. So that's my reasoning, because if you get anxiety, it might cause you to have higher blood sugars. And like, why do that to yourself? In the clarity section, I get 2 insulin reports, 14-day and total. My very low is below 50. Well, I couldn't change that. I tried to. They wouldn't let me. Let me see. Now, oh, it's under profile. And we're doing display trend and very low. Yeah, it won't let me change it. So yeah, it won't let me change it. So which CGM do you have, Lewis? Right, yeah, I can't stand the alarms. They make me a nervous wreck. Well, actually, they don't make me nervous. You know what they make me? Angry, and that's even worse. I will tell y'all a secret. I guess I will tell you a secret, but it's a really bad habit of mine. When my alarm goes off, I think the thought, I can't even say it out loud. I don't want to say it out loud, but I have this thought that comes to me, and I don't mean for it. And as soon as I think it, I change it. But I do think it, and the alarms upset me so much that I say to myself in the way back of my mind, I hate my life. And that is not true. I love my life. But every time I hear the alarm, that's what I think. And then I look at what it is. And if it's an unexpected high, I never get mad at a low. I'll just say that. I never get mad if my blood sugar is low, because they're easy to correct. And it's almost like that might mean I'm healing. But it's the unexpected highs that get me emotionally. That every time I have an unexpected high and I can't figure out why, that's when that phrase comes to my mind. And I don't like it, because I believe in being positive and cheerful as much as we possibly can. And I believe in loving my life, because then it's just going to get better, right? So it really upsets me that, see, my blood sugar is rising. I'm gonna just take a little bit of insulin right here. It's 122, and I am gonna take half of a unit of insulin. I use our insulin, and so this is my basal insulin, the N or NPH. It's what I used when I was first diagnosed in 1971. Of course, I can't see this without my glasses on. So for 122, I'm going to take half of a unit, which should lower me 30 points. And I'm going to take it in my shoulder, because there's a skinnier piece of fat over your shoulder, over your delt, so that the insulin will get into my bloodstream faster. That's where I take it when I have a high blood sugar. And 122 is not that high, but I was trying to figure out my lunch dose, and when I took it, I thought this might not be enough. I had a burger with an egg on top with a giant piece of butter. And I took 1.5 units for that. But as I was taking it, I was thinking, I wonder if this is really 2 units. So, hey, it was. And I just took another unit. Do you check with a finger stick? Um, Not all the time. I will if it seems wrong, and that's the only time I check it against a finger stick. Um, if I know that I'm well hydrated, I pretty much believe that it's right. Um, yeah, it is, and it works. I know some people who go to the trouble to get like I use. You probably can't see. Oh, maybe you can see it. A very short needle. It's called short needle. But I think it's an 8. Some people here, some people use a 12. So they use a longer needle to correct a high in the shoulder. I learned that from Bernstein. So yeah. Yeah, it goes in, and sometimes I might even, do some like movements to try to get it going more. I could jump up and down or something, but yeah, I think that's might be pretty good. Yeah. Well, this is fun to have people talking to me because I usually only go on for about a half an hour, maybe 35 minutes. So it's been fun to have people along with me, and this was great. It was very good. But does anybody want to know? Anybody want to ask me anything? Um, I don't know what you mean, Paul. You have NP and then you have M. So I'm not sure what that. Right, Lewis. Maybe yeah, I would think that that is true. He says maybe it's because he's not on insulin, that you're low. They let you um set it at 50 because you're not gonna probably go lower. But I could go to, well, it doesn't, and it's frustrating. The only thing frustrating to me about the G7 or any of the CGMs is that it doesn't test anything lower than 40. Well, it does, but it says low. It just says the word low. It doesn't say, like on my meter, it'll go down to, I believe 24 might be the lowest. And I think 24 is the lowest that I've ever gotten on a meter. Oh, okay. So accident. Um, right. I've gotten as low as 24. And I think that's the lowest I've ever gotten. I've never passed out in 55 years of taking insulin. I have never passed out. And I have never been in DKA. 55 years of taking insulin. And I never was even in DKA when I was diagnosed. Lance says my Stello app won't let me set the low below 70. Oh, doesn't get readings below 70. Oh, either Lingo will let me set it lower. It reads to 55. Interesting. So Stello is definitely for people who are not on insulin. And so they just believe that you can't go below 70 if you're not on insulin. But we all know that when you're fasting, you can have lower blood sugars, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, I would, it's interesting what and I was going to say something and now I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know. I was going to tell you something that happened to me. Now, what was it that I was going to tell you about? Um, let me think. Let me think. What was I gonna say? Oh, did I get I think that well, I'm gonna find out in a few days. I think I requested it, but I'm not sure if I did or not. Um, right, it is over the counter CGM, right, and not for diabetics, right. Yes. Oh, what was it I was gonna say? Something, and I'll probably think of it as soon as I end the stream. Um, the 20 I got 26 once when my kids were little and I was hiking with them with a homeschooling group. I homeschooled my kids and we were doing we called it Friday activity group. So Friday afternoons we went to an activity along with other homeschoolers and sometimes we would go on a we'd go on a field trip, to some cool museum or something like that. And this time we were going on a hike close to a friend of ours, her house, and she had kids who were homeschooling and they lived way out in the country. So she took us on this hike, and it was a hike along where you could see a beaver dam, which was pretty cool in this little creek. So that was fun because we could see the beavers working. And so it was an unexpected hike. And back then I didn't walk as much, so we were hiking and um and back then I don't remember if I brought food with me everywhere. And I could feel myself going low and I knew I was going low and I wanted to finish and we weren't anywhere close to home to her house. And so I got my meter out while I was walking and I tested my blood sugar and it said 26, which is very, very low. And I think I didn't have anything with me, which is probably one of those times that I did that. And then I learned never to leave my house without something, my trusty little mints, which is what I usually use when I go low. Um, So, yeah, so I had to wait until we got back, and, you have a bunch of kids, a bunch of homeschoolers, there's always food, so there was food at the house, and I was fine, I didn't pass out. Like I said, I've never passed out from low blood sugar, and because of being on a low-carb diet for as long as I have been, and because of being, keto and then carnivore, I think I operate very well with low blood sugar. So I can walk at 30. I'm still walking at 30. And I walked, back to her house with 26 blood sugar. So I do pretty well with low blood sugar. And plus my body is used to it because I go low a lot. It's not great, but I do. Um, yes. So I think we're just about ready, unless you want me to explain what these St. Clair's um organic little peppermints. I don't want to get them out, but they're just tiny little candies, and they are made from organic molasses granules, organic tapioca powder, organic peppermint essential oils. And they have these in a bunch of different flavors, and they are 0.75 grams. One mint will raise my blood sugar 5 points. I know most of y'all aren't on insulin, but Paul is. And it's just I never leave the house without having some. They have other flavors. My other favorite is coffee. The coffee is really good too. But I only eat them when I really need them. And one will raise me 5 points. So if I want to just pick my blood sugar up from like 65 to 70, or if I feel I'm going low and I'm at 68, I might eat one or two, especially if I'm going out for a hike. But if I'm really low, like if I get all the way down to 40, I might take six, because 6 times 5 is 30, and that would bring me up to, my target is more like 70, 75, maybe 80. It depends on my activity. If I'm just going to be sitting around, I won't take as many, because I would rather it come up slowly to 70. So, um, anyway, I adjust, and I was just reading a message. Okay. Um, so I think I'm going to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and helping me with this discussion. It's been awesome, and I've had a lot of fun. So I will be back next Friday at 3 as well. And it's my regular time. From next Friday at 3, I will be broadcasting from um, a little town in New York called Greenwood Lake, um, at my son's house. I might be a little late. I don't know. It depends on when I get my granddaughter, but I will be broadcasting from there next week. But thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.